Thank you very much for listening to my podcast, William Wallis for America. I am William Wallis, and I love talking about freedom, liberty, and the great country we live in called America. Today's show is about the decline of work ethic and how its decline will destroy America and freedom. I'm not going to quote the definition of what work ethic is, but I think this show will make it very clear and how sacred it is to America. And it's brought to you by Patriot Mobile, who believes in the First and Second Amendments, first responders, our military, our constitutional, and life issues. If you believe in the same, please switch your cell phone service to Patriot Mobile, and you will usually get better service since they use all the major carriers' lines. You'll get competitive rates and free activation if you go to patriotmobile.com/WWFA. And to get a buy one, get one free deal at My Pillow on their new product line, go to mypillow.com and use the promo code WWFA. And if you love freedom, please go to my website and click merchandise to see all of my freedom loving merchandise at williamwallace.net. Now let's get started. America was built on a hard work ethic. It's hundreds of years of countless men and women with determination, dedication to self reliance, and freedom, working hard to provide for their families and build their communities. Through their hard work, they have bonded to build a country, fight wars to protect freedom, and worked to innovate to bring us into a modern age. Freedom comes from a good work ethic, and both are under attack. Does a good work ethic promote and protect freedom, both personally and in our communities? Yes, because a good or hard work ethic creates a better sense of self reliance and a feeling of satisfaction from the dependence that comes with it, while a lack of work ethic creates dependence, which usually falls prey to the reliance on others and their demands. And in the case of a lack of a good work ethic, it is usually the government that steps in to take the place of providing for an individual, thereby also helping government to grow and gain more power in this vicious cycle. I think that a good work ethic is a key ingredient to freedom for an individual and the success of our communities and our country. It is one of the most important characteristics of the human race. So, what defines work ethic or the ability or choice to work hard? Is it the desire to be personally responsible, consistently self reliant, or is it working physically hard, a high risk profession, a desire for freedom, or is it a choice or a natural attribute? Can a work ethic be learned? Is it a combination of things from how we are raised, our environment, or if our parents had a good work ethic and taught us how to be self reliant? Does it come from a sense of pride, a feeling of accomplishment, or the need for reward? There was a quote going around from Mike Rowe that stated work ethic is important because, unlike intelligence, athleticism, charisma, or any other natural attribute, it is a choice. I don't necessarily disagree with Mike Rowe. While I think it can be a choice, I think there are other things that can be a part of a good work ethic. And I would like to add to it because I think there are other factors. I think it can be a choice, but I think a work ethic is something in our DNA. How it can manifest is part of what I want to discuss more. I think that the desire to work, be productive, and free is in our human spirit. I believe the human spirit is born with a desire for freedom and self reliance, and the human race is programmed for self preservation. All these things come from a good hard work ethic, and all these things we can attribute back to it. And as we look back in time, we can see the advances of civilization, harmonious families, vibrant neighborhoods, robust communities, and prosperous nations from the results of a good work ethic within our society. And when populations have had communities with a good work ethic, crime is low, morale is high, and people are generally happy. It's the reason politicians run on the four-letter word JOBS. So, at what point is acting on a work ethic or having a work ethic different from choosing to work? At what point is it a choice or a bigger part of our personal DNA that we cannot suppress? And at what point do we recognize that our freedom, the success of our communities, and our country is dependent on the work ethic of our nation? To Mike Rowe's point, I think depending on environments, how we are raised, government influences, economy, physical or mental impairments, that it can be a choice at some points in life. Maybe everyone is born with the ability and desire to work hard, but at some point, after someone has been exposed to all other outside environmental factors, there's a crossroad where someone makes a decision to choose the road that leads to a productive life or one that leads to a life of mere existence of dependence and despondency, depending on other influences and how they were raised. And how much influence does government have on our work ethic? And is it intentionally trying to create dependency by eliminating the need to have a good work ethic in order to create a demand for more of it while eliminating the human spirit of the need for freedom that comes along with it? Almost all humans are born with the ability to work hard or be productive. And even many people who are born with a disability get beyond it and find a way to channel their work ethic and be productive in some way. And also think about the caregivers many of them have that also have a good work ethic out of love, dedication, and from somewhere within that is more than just a choice. There are many factors involved around it than just being a choice. Work ethic is not only woven into our DNA, it's stitched into our society. So when it gets suppressed or ignored, so does our sense of pride and that of our communities. And still, there are many that work hard at avoiding work. Though some may procrastinate their hard work ethic away, maybe their choice is to put it off for whatever reason. Maybe it's not laziness, but maybe there is another reason that it is not necessarily because they don't have one or don't have a good work ethic, but they just let life get in the way, or their government, by the way, gets in the way. Sometimes people actually need a break or a vacation, in which case a regular hard work ethic only makes vacations and time off that much better and needed to recharge your batteries or, well, but don't let procrastination settle in and become the beginning of the end of your work ethic. This is where physical, mental, chemical dependency, and yes, even government dependency can set in, which all lead to a voluntary surrender of your freedoms. As in the words of Benjamin Franklin, work while it is called today, for you know not much you may be hindered tomorrow. One today is worth two tomorrows. Never leave that till tomorrow, which you can do today. I believe that there is a feeling of freedom in hard work and in having a good work ethic. There is something rewarding about working hard that is bigger than a financial reward. It's almost nourishment for the mind and soul when you work hard. There's power in having a good work ethic because the rewards that can come from it empower people in so many ways through financial reward, the feeling of satisfaction, and the feeling and freedom and the power that come from it. So, do people who crave or value hard work, have a better work ethic. We're going to go through more of these types of people here as we go along. A good work ethic or a hard work ethic is more than just being willing to go to work or work hard. And to some extent, I think there are different degrees of it because work ethic is woven into our DNA, and communities that choose not to work generally do not do well in society. The ones that use their desire and choice to work hard and succeed is parallel to their quest for freedom and self preservation, and every society will do better as a result. A good work ethic isn't necessarily the desire or need or willingness to physically work hard. An educational based work ethic can lead to having knowledge that can lead to money, influence, and power, and other forms of success that come from having a good work ethic. There are those that work hard mentally that also have a feeling of freedom from working mentally. Knowledge from hard work can simply lead people down the right career path that have a financial reward that maybe don't require any more work, either physical hard work, that is, or time put in after they made their original investment of time in the hard work or dedication that they made to school and studying. Remember, genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Where am I going is that having a good work ethic is something that I think most humans are born with, just like their desire for freedom. And to an extent, self preservation or personal responsibility. But for different reasons, that very human trait within our DNA is brought out or suppressed depending on the environment, situations, education, or training, making some have to choose to work instead of following their natural tendency to be self sufficient through their own endeavors. But I think it all goes back to the desire of the human spirit for freedom and self reliance and the instinctual desire to perpetuate the human race. It's in our genes. A good work ethic and the desire to work hard cannot be separated from man's desire for freedom. Work ethic knows no color, no race, no religion, no country, or intelligence level. Some very smart people have horrible work ethics and vice versa. And a good work ethic is even found in animal species. I know it sounds kind of crazy, and insects like ants and bees. Their habitats or communities wouldn't succeed without work ethic. I know it's a hard comparison between insects and animals and humans, but it's all the same. If we don't work together, we lose. Our society loses, our community loses, or in that case, their habitat loses. Our creator wove it into our DNA for a reason. And yes, some still choose to not use it, while most cannot resist the urge for the freedom that comes along with it. And I think that government, not that there is a secret society within it or a man behind the curtain, but collectively, our government and the people in it have figured out how to use people who have a good work ethic and crave freedom to fund and grow government through taxation, their hard work to help fund and their hard work rather to help fund their agendas and stay in the office and erode people's freedom, while at the same time, how to use people with a lack of work ethic or those that have given up on their desire for freedom for the security promised by the government to give government the ability to get bigger and move their narratives through the dependence that comes from a lack of desire or a lack of good work ethic. In other words, government uses productive people to bring in the tax dollars, and government uses unproductive people to get them on the subsidies and the government programs to help government grow. So, do we give up on our work ethic or abilities to work hard knowing we are going to be taxed and still have to fight inflation? Of course not, because giving up a work ethic is giving up freedom, self reliance, power, financial gain, independence, and most importantly, self preservation and the future of those dependent upon us, along with all the other good lessons we get from a good work ethic and the future of our country. A good work ethic is even biblical, and that does not mean that you have to take the Bible in a religious way. Just see it as an historical way, or just seeing it as a historical way. It shows us how to succeed, or take it as I do, as words of wisdom from our Creator. Whether you believe in it or not, the idea of hard work is as ancient as humanity. But here's some things in the Bible you'll find that promote or point to a hard work ethic. In Colossians chapter 3, verses 23 and 24, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. See, when you respect your God given talents, it will come back to you. And maybe it's just the basics of food and shelter in some cases, but when you practice your good work ethic, you're going to get rewarded. I know, like I said, you can decide how you see as a level of being rewarded. Either way, let's go to the next one. Thessalonians says that if any would not work, neither should he eat. And while the saying, God helps those that helps themselves, is not directly in the Bible, there are verses that indicate that. In Proverbs 16:3, we read, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. This is a promise that if we are working hard and trying to do things right, God will help us. And it also says in Proverbs that the Lord generally rewards diligence. For example, Proverbs 12:24 says, the hand of the diligent will rule, while the slothful will be put to forced labor. And Proverbs 13:4 says, the soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. To teach a man to fish, however, is another one that the Bible doesn't say. Teach a man to fish. This phrase is actually from a Chinese proverb. The full text is, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. But there are many references throughout the Bible that point to the same directly. So even if you don't want to think this as biblical, as a general rule, it has proven to be true for people and societies, which go back to one of the best ways to ensure the success of a society and a country is to teach, support, and practice a good work ethic. While I do think we are born with a desire to be self sufficient and free, a hard work ethic can be taught and learned and even chosen, almost as if some people have it in them but need it brought out. A good work ethic is reinforced in our societies through our communities, our laws, our politics, our families, and how we raise our children. This is why we need to be more aware of nourishing a hard work ethic in our society and for our country. Of all the things we teach our children, I think that teaching them how to work hard is one of the most important things. A good work ethic teaches them self confidence, morals, gives them a sense of community, teaches them compassion, expands their knowledge, teaches them how to be self reliant, and they will learn how to appreciate things. They learn all of these things from a good work ethic, especially when they learn it from their family. They will learn how to have and build a strong family, become more empathetic, and learn respect for others. They learn how to communicate, become more efficient. They learn gratitude, how to work with others, how to appreciate others. Teaching them how to work hard and have a good work ethic helps them how to create goals and learn how to go after the better things in life and how to be successful. And they will learn the feeling of freedom and how important it is. One of the reasons our communities are failing is because we aren't teaching our children how to work. Instead, we give and give to them. Not that we shouldn't give to them, but that we also need to teach them how to work hard to get what they want. Leave the giving to them for the holidays, rewards, and special occasions, and even then, not overdoing it. One of the hardest things for parents who can't or choose not to give their kids everything is seeing them have to work hard for it instead of the parent borrowing every dime and working 10 jobs just to give them everything. But seeing them succeed as adults is more rewarding because now you have given them the tools to help themselves and to overcome obstacles and succeed for the rest of their life. And they will pass those skills on and improve our communities, our country, and be a part of protecting freedom. Teach your children well and promote a good work ethic by encouraging and complimenting those that work hard. It used to start when we asked our children, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" That question started the path to teaching them goals and to work hard them to make them want to make something of themselves. Teach your children to work for something instead of giving them everything. One of the hardest things for me as a parent has been not to pay for everything, to not to give them everything, to not finance their college, but instead teach them how to work for it. Giving them, giving your children the gift of achievement and self reliance gives them the gift. Yes, it takes away that self satisfaction that you will get from giving them what they want. But the gift you will be giving them will be bigger. Letting them work for it teaches them character and gives them the sense of pride when they do it instead of the feeling you get from doing it for them. And they learn how to create goals and go for it and do better. Giving them everything takes away the gift of teaching them a good work ethic. And teaching them a good work ethic is also a way to give back to a society that thrives from having a community of people with a good work ethic. It doesn't mean that you have to leave your children and set them free or kick them out of the nest. You can still be there for them as a teacher, a support system that assists without doing all the work. And you can be the safety net in case they fall. But the teamwork in teaching a hard work ethic builds families and accomplishes more in the long run. Now, don't get me wrong, there are many ways to still help them with opportunities like college when you have the ability to give them everything. But still, there are opportunities to teach them how to work for it. Maybe make them pay it back or teach them how to earn it. There's lots of out of the box thinking that you can do to still provide and teach them. But my point is, don't let the time pass that you don't teach them the value of hard work, giving them the lesson or the feeling of the satisfaction that comes from it. Don't be afraid of their failure. Teaching them how to work will teach them how to not fail or how to get through it. They'll learn perseverance. They'll learn how to cope when they do fail, and they'll learn how to get back up when they fail when you teach them about hard work because hard work not only teaches respect, it commands it. Think about how often you see someone working really hard and you feel compassion, empathy, and respect for them. That's the way it's supposed to be when you learn it yourself. The philosopher and storyteller Aesop tells the story of a father that upon his deathbed told his sons of a great treasure buried in his vineyard. Upon his death, the sons immediately, of course, run out to the vineyard. They dug and turned up the whole vineyard, yet found none. However, after so thorough a digging, the new vines produced a crop like never seen before. The moral of the story there is no treasure without turmoil. And I will add that the father did a great job at teaching his kids the value of hard work, even in his absence, because he knew that value. And when it comes to teaching our children about a good work ethic, it has to be encouraged and expected and nurtured to help bring it out. We beg politicians to create better school policies and standards, but we aren't expecting parents and our society to teach children better working skills, which also translates to education. We used to do that in many ways in our schools, from nursery rhymes in the early years, like the Song of the Bees or the Little Red Hen, about working hard, even teaching shop. Home tech and vo-tech in our high schools was taken out. We don't teach our children to deliver papers in the morning or go get an after school job or do chores around the house to earn what you wanted. When the value of hard work is nurtured, people's desire for freedom will be nurtured, and their expectations of what their government should control or how big it gets will be reduced. They will be more involved in finding solutions in their community and their country instead of being misled by narratives and agendas. But most importantly, they will be willing to teach others and help others to become self reliant. Yet another example of all the good things that come from a hard work ethic. Yet compassionate and giving when the time is needed, because a good work ethic is a tool we are all born with, but when practiced and shown how to use the right way, also becomes a tool used to help others. Because work ethic also translates into service for others. Nonprofits are yet another way to serve people without the government, and they can create the power and freedom of like-minded groups without the government gaining power over another segment of our population that may be in need. As government often comes to the rescue in those times, because oftentimes we have to be there for others or groups of people when they are in true need. But another thing that comes with work ethic is discernment, the ability to know when the time is right to give or when the time is right to ask for help. Work ethic builds our communities, nonprofits, and the service industry, which is a part of almost every business and charity in the world. We can look in modern times and see what innovations and things that have been created and built from a good work ethic. You see, a good work ethic in our society helps all of us to prosper and create and thrive. Our skyscrapers, cars, machinery, computers, and all of modern society didn't come from a bad work ethic. No different than when you look back hundreds and hundreds of years and see how those civilizations lived. They survived and prospered in their times from a good work ethic. And we can look to civilizations in the past and see the results from a good work ethic and how the unwillingness to use it in modern times has destroyed communities. You can look at all the blight and crime for an example of bad policy, or blame it on bad policies rather, but you could also blame it in a bigger way on horrible work ethics. Just look at ancient civilizations that built the pyramids, temples, and underground cities, even. They didn't get there from a lack of hard work. Now, I get it. I'm sure it can be argued that was slave labor or rulers that caused them, which only history truly knows. But there is still a testament of what man can do when they put their work ethic to use. Hard work ethic has been the reason for the success of civilizations and freedom over the history of man, most of which were not created from slave labor or from uh, leaders or rulers that caused them to do so. Instead, those people were inspired to perpetuate the human race, to survive, for self reliance, independence. But there are things we have to help others to work through in society. And we cannot forget our fellow man at times when is their spirit to work is low. While there are times our fellow man needs help, let us never forget that we have to be mindful that we have to know when to give them a hand up, which comes with the appreciation of hard work. What about people that might work physically hard and or mentally hard that are underpaid? Maybe they still live on borderline poverty. Maybe they're stressed mentally, physically, and financially. What is their reward for a good or consistent hard work ethic if it's not paying off? Is it worth having the good work ethic for them? What about people living off the government or on subsidies? Can they even have a good work ethic? Or have they been drained of their desire because the government has taken care of them? Has government taken their desire for freedom and self reliance? Do people that rely on government, nonprofits, churches, or others not crave, or do they not crave rather, freedom or the satisfaction of a hard work ethic? While a good work ethic is the solution to many problems, there will still be some that don't benefit from it. So, why should they still have it? Because it teaches gratitude and discernment. Sometimes tough times don't last, but having a sense of a good work ethic pulls people through life, even if they are not getting ahead with it. A society with a sense of work ethic builds compassion, and groups of people come together more often to help each other and others in society and fill in where government cannot and should not, because we can help each other better, especially when we are practicing what comes from a good work ethic. And we learn how much we need each other. You see, those that have the ability to help others are more inclined to do so because of their work ethic. And the more people we have that use their work ethic, the more our society grows and helps each other along the way, because work ethic teaches compassion. And this is not a communist perspective that I'm preaching, like to each his own ability, because many will succeed with their work ethic and some will not. But there will be compassion to help those that are truly in need and appreciation for those that succeed. So we have to accept and appreciate the results of supporting a hard work ethic in our society, whichever way it goes. So, can a hard work ethic be used to accomplish freedom, personal responsibility, self reliance, and the satisfaction of supporting a family for the good of the individual or their inner circle? And keep in mind the power of that is greater than when it gets used for nefarious purposes. So we have to be mindful of the would be dictators or powers that may try to use the individual's abilities for the common good to achieve their own personal goals of control and power. But when societies are involved in their communities and practice a hard work ethic and learn from its byproducts, governments and people with nefarious purposes have a harder time sneaking in. The same people that crave the freedom that comes from hard work eventually becomes the ones that demand better, because they know in their gut what the individual needs: freedom, a sense of accomplishment, and their God-given right to create their world and those dependent upon them, because they have experienced for themselves. You know, we all heard the saying that government is there to help you, or when government says it's here to help. Well, when government says it is here to help people, I think its ultimate goal is to create a dependency by taking away people's desire to work through government programs and taxes. Because the only way government can grow and do better and prosper for itself is if there are more people dependent upon it from giving up their freedoms of self reliance. Since COVID, businesses have been complaining of worker shortages. This makes my earlier point that through government intervention of dumping so much easy money, programs, and even more new programs into the economy, it has made it easier for some people to choose not to work. And I guess some of that depends on how they were raised and if their environment nurtured a good work ethic. Besides the need that some people have for assistance, government has made it too attractive to get government assistance. And government has done nothing to help or encourage people to get off of it, thereby making the choice to stay on assistance or to go to work an easier decision to stay home. Or as they're saying today, quietly quitting, as they call it. Government programs have suppressed people's desire to work in many ways, including by putting limits on how much money someone can earn while on government assistance. Let me emphasize this without going down this road. It's this simple. Programs have made rules to be single to receive assistance, thereby reducing a family's ability to earn or teach their children how to earn as a family. And since this has caused many to seek underground or illegal incomes, it's proof that we are born with the ability and desire to work and earn, but the choice of using a good work ethic gets hindered and a and by a bad environment helping assist bad decisions. And this is the part that I want to stress. It's proof that there are policies in place that need reforming if we truly want to help people get out from under the government's handouts of getting just enough scraps to keep them from reaching their full human potentials, to getting to a point where they can use their God given talents to prosper and truly be free and put their families on a better track for prosperity and freedom and create generational wealth instead of generational poverty. And again, how do taxes affect our work ethic? While government needs more money to function and should truly only exist for the basic necessities of our country, like defense, roads, courts, and to protect individual rights. And while money is needed for those basics, creating less of it for individuals through taxes takes and erodes freedom for the taxpayer. While the government is taxing us more, they are also printing more to cover what they feel are the essentials, like funding pet projects, pork barrel spending, and funding programs to advance agendas more people to leave the workforce by getting them on the programs, all the while inflation goes in hyperspace. And the overall effect is on the efficiency of the work ethics of many who learn to earn just enough because they know the tax burden curve is too hard to get over to get to the other side. You see, another reason to promote a good work ethic is that it promotes sound financial awareness and responsible spending. And why would the government want more people aware of how poorly managed our tax dollars truly are? Well, when they create that cycle of dependency, more people aren't aware of it. With less time to enjoy life because someone has to work harder to pay their bills and taxes, it makes it easier for big government to eliminate a desire for self reliance and for the human spirit to crave the benefits of having a hard work ethic and the freedom that comes along with it. But what about the people that still show up to work amidst high taxes, inflation, less time to enjoy the fruits of their hard work ethic? Is it because their work ethic is so much better than those that benefit from working less time or benefit more from their work? Or is it that sense of reward or a nourishment of the human spirit that comes from hard work that they crave more than just the fruits of their labor and their time? Is it that their work ethic is stronger in their DNA? Does it mean that someone that benefits financially or from power doesn't feel or appreciate that sense of peace and satisfaction from their hard work and only craves the money and power that comes along with a hard work ethic instead of that feeling of self satisfaction or self reliance? For some, yes, but for some, it might just be the ride or the challenge. A little more reasons or a few more reasons why I think a hard work ethic is more than just a choice. This is going to be an odd one, but follow me here on this. There are functioning alcoholics and drug addicts that survive only because they have a good work ethic. To fund their addiction, they have to pay the bills and buy their addictions. Sounds ironic, but there are many people with bad addictions that function for the purpose to fund their bad behavior. So it is a choice for them, or maybe it's so deep in their DNA that it comes out naturally while they're whatever committing their crimes to fund their bad habits. Is it the necessity that they have to be able to do both, to pay their bills and their bad habits? Or are they able to call on something from within to solve a problem? But again, a good work ethic can also keep people away from bad decisions of using drugs and alcohol or other bad things in life. I'm not claiming to be right on any of this, but I want to give food for thought to remind us that our work ethic is alive and well and needs to be guided for good and to do good things and to survive properly, we'll say. A good work ethic can get us through hard times, make the highs more satisfying, and it can heal. So many people dive into work to get through their hard times. Many successful people tell the story of their addictions and hard times that they're successful today and they got successful because of their work ethic brought them through it. It wasn't luck. It was a good work ethic. It's inside of them. Not only has a good work ethic got them through their addictions and made them successful people they are today, hard times don't have to mean drugs or addictions. It can mean divorce, breakups, health problems, family problems. But hard work or a good work ethic within a work environment can be a distraction. A different environment puts us with people not connected to the problems. Sometimes work friends are more like family and lead to a sense of productivity and fulfillment that gets us through the hard times, especially if they're financial. And this is for most people, from what I've been gathering. And it can only, I say this, can only legal, positive, law abiding citizens work count towards having a good work ethic. Granted, and frequently, criminals and addicts' work ethic, in quotes here, work ethic, manifests itself through illegal activity. But the act of work through the activity to achieve the result of buying or paying for whatever they want is an act which can be labeled as a work ethic, but just for the wrong reason. So it just needs to be redirected to do good, which is what happens on average more when a society is strengthening the individual and communities together through a good work ethic environment instead of building more government. And that process nurtures a community where legal opportunities become more prevalent. So, are there various degrees of work ethic? Do people that work hard in a legal and positive way only get credit for having a good work ethic? Morally, yes. For society, yes. But it's more proof that our work ethic is in our DNA. It's the environment and things we are taught and reinforced with that helps us make better decisions when we choose to use our work ethic. It's that same environment and upbringing that helps manifest our work ethic in a good way for ourselves and our society and for our freedoms. We have all heard the stories of people who work hard at crime, and then we say, well, only if they put their time into legally and ethically making money, they could live a better life. Or, in my previous thought, get credit for their hard work ethic only if they're doing good things, right? We have all joked about criminals just being entrepreneurs that chose the wrong career path or work ethic, if we will. Their choice was not to go to work, just a bad choice on where they chose to use their work ethic. And now that prisons aren't giving as much hard time anymore, why isn't our society promoting a good work ethic to more people at a younger age to get them on the right track earlier? Why isn't teaching a good work ethic something that we do in criminal justice reform? Going back to people who have a good work ethic and using it in legal positive ways. Does someone who works harder has a harder job, maybe someone who has a dirtier job, or does something that not many people are willing to do, have a better work ethic than someone who has, say, an easy job? How hard does the job have to be to define how good their work ethic is? Or is it that just the will to be self reliant and go to work or perform a task, be consistent in life at being personally responsible, define a good work ethic? Is that all it takes? And what about immigration? How does that come into play on work ethic? Well, I'm going to explain now. A good work ethic should solve much of our immigration problems. I know. Well, but people might say, well, that's because our immigrants are hard workers. Well, follow me on this. For too long, our government has refused to overhaul our immigration system and protect American workers. Nurturing a good work ethic in our society solves many immigration problems, including the need to bring in cheap labor, in some people's opinions. So, why are immigrants known for having good work ethics? Is it because they come from less and see the opportunity here to have more? Is it because they feel their desire for freedom more here in America? Is it because they choose it? Is it because they feel the necessity? Where they come from, do they have to work harder to survive? Because they don't have the government that gives them everything like programs that we have while taking away their freedoms through making them reliant on government? Or does their country not have a large supply of opportunity available? So there is actually less supply of products, jobs, and a smaller supply chain from capitalism. So they have to work harder. Then is it because they are choosing to work hard for freedom? Or do they just know that a good work ethic is how to have freedom and survive? Is it that we are truly in America that much, the land of opportunity, that they see it more and go after it while our own citizens haven't had to work as hard for it because of all the opportunities, and they don't see the forest from the trees because we are not reinforcing our work ethic and the gratitude that comes along with it? Or is it that a larger percentage of our citizens are hooked on the government programs? So when the immigrants succeed here, they just stand out more. Do immigrants know the secret of a hard work ethic is survival? Or do they just feel the freedom that comes along with the achievement of better opportunity for providing for themselves and their family through their hard work in an environment that will reward them well. On average, interesting point I found out here, on average, white Americans make less than other ethnic groups from other countries. My reason for bringing this up is to point out that in the immigration process, many ethnic groups have excelled after immigrating here and use their work ethic in our system. My point is that we have an environment to succeed in the USA. We just need to nurture the work ethic environment for everyone. Our immigration system needs to be reformed. We don't even have a border anymore. And this is hurting American workers, like I said earlier, that do have a good work ethic because plentiful, cheap labor will only hurt the people in America that have such a strong work ethic and will do anything regardless of the job. But even they, or businesses rather, are competing with government programs that make the choice to not work easier. This hurts America and generations of Americans that are living in poverty on the streets and need ground level opportunities to get back on their feet without competition from failed government policies within our immigration system. And of course, other government policies that are failing our society as well. And I won't even go into detail about how the drugs coming across our border have declared war on our work ethic. And again, that is connected to the freedoms that we have in America. Politicians and our education system have failed our students by taking shop out of schools, trade schools out of communities, and telling kids to study hard, go to college, and become a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, scientist, or whatever sounds great to get them to go to college, which doesn't fit for everybody, but it keeps the universities in business while taking tax dollars, high tuition, student loans, and programs instead of creating an infrastructure that gets young people into a path they will do well in and prosper from by teaching strong work ethics early to help them make their own decisions. Through a strong work ethic, individuals become more aware of who they are and their abilities. Yes, we need an educated society, but we also need a society that is willing to work. And more, we are losing that in our young people through indoctrination in our schools by promising them free education and often in things that don't pay as well or making them promises they may not do as well in. All of this is done while we spoil our children by giving them everything and not teaching them to work and earn and give them the most valuable tool they could ever be taught, a good work ethic. In a time of many parents giving their kids everything from Christmases that max out the credit cards, where they get everything, where the kids get everything they want. They get cars when they reach that right age and their car insurance paid. Of course, it's out of so called necessity because some parents don't want to have to drive their kids everywhere or they get tired of it by the time they're old enough. But later, those young people needed that lesson to learn what it's like to have to work to get that car or pay for that insurance. Government doesn't have, nor does it need to have a work ethic because it doesn't make anything. It doesn't need to be efficient. Yet its lack of work ethic is contagious and produces dependence. Government actually thrives on a lack of work ethic because when there is a lack of work ethic, there is dependency. And more people that are dependent on government, the more government and bureaucracy grows. The people in government gain power, and the people dependent on it lose freedom. And the circle of dependence will grow while freedom shrinks by government subsidizing the work ethic of those people that it has made dependent upon it, those people have had their sense of responsibility diminished. Some desire for self reliance, independence, freedom, or the desire to raise children that will be self reliant. People not only become more complacent about their finances, but they ignore the finances of the government that has gained their dependence. Dependent people are less involved in the government that has stolen their ambition that comes with a good work ethic. A dependent society tends to ignore a government that is mismanaging money as long as their lack of work ethic is being subsidized in the form of taking care of their basic needs. And when most people are getting their basic needs taken care of, they lose a desire to work and just don't show up to work or even get a job. A huge problem for those that are contributing to society and need more people to show up, because then the burden goes on fewer people. But the problem is that a growing government that has to print its own money to satisfy its customers that are dependent upon it will eventually not be able to supply the demand it has convinced to, or it will not be able to supply the people it has convinced to down or lay down, rather, their plows. Through a good work ethic, we learn how to manage money. We gain integrity and are more aware and involved in our government because it causes us to feel the weight of a more irresponsible government, especially when it comes to taxes, because those that work harder tend to make more and pay more in taxes, while government has already figured out how to subsidize our taxes while they have subsidized the work ethic. Knowing that when your liberty and freedom is in the hands of a master, it should make people question why government is so willing to take care of us. People who have a good work ethic and desire the freedom that come with it tend to be more aware of those that want to control them. A good work ethic creates a positive attitude, hope, a desire for better, and a sense of satisfaction when they achieve goals, and the ability to keep trying when they miss the mark. People with a good work ethic tend to not fear failure or are more resilient to it because their innate ability to be self reliant builds an immunity to the fear of becoming dependent. And think of a flip side of not nourishing the soul with the fulfillment that comes from hard work: boredom, which leads to all the other negative things I've discussed. Generally, people with a good work ethic can get bored easily when they aren't doing anything, which is why many people with good work ethics have hobbies. Imagine how I've drugged that in here. As silly as it may seem, I think that even hobbies are a sign of a good work ethic. Think about it. While someone is doing something to pass the time, having fun doing it, yet usually not making money at it, which is kind of opposite of what we've been talking about, is usually still giving them a sense of accomplishment, doing something that makes them feel like they have freedom to do what they want and still feel productive. It's no different than the feelings you get from hard work and making money. With both, you get a sense of accomplishment, self satisfaction, productivity, and you don't feel like you've wasted your time. And just like work, a hobby takes some sense of desire to be productive and a desire that comes from inside as if it were in your DNA. Like Mike Rowe says, opportunity usually shows up when someone exercises a good work ethic. Our workforce is lagging because work ethic in our society is lagging for all the reasons I have talked about. A good work ethic isn't just working hard, it's also working smart. And there are those whose work ethic comes from their education and intellectual capital being used as their tool for a good work ethic. A lagging workforce and a declining sense of a good work ethic will cause the downfall of a nation. And I am going to repeat that. A lagging workforce and a declining sense of a good work ethic will cause the downfall of a nation because without good work ethic in our society, a nation can't grow, build, or prosper or create. And without people taking care of themselves, government will be beyond a tipping point and won't be able to take care of everyone. Promoting a good work ethic is beneficial to society and builds responsibility and respect for others, which also builds a strong sense of community, which creates opportunity for everyone and safer communities at that, and insurance for the future of our country. Something great about having a good work ethic is that it can supersede education. You don't have to be smart to make a lot of money to get everything you want. A good work ethic can get you to your financial goals and beyond without intelligence. We have all met someone that has a lot of money that you question, how did someone like that get all of that? Why? Because a good work ethic equals freedom, not just freedom from government, not just personal freedom, but financial freedom, the freedom to go anywhere you want, the freedom to make your own choices and do the things that you want. If our country promoted and nurtured a good work ethic and we wouldn't allow our government to subsidize work ethic, we wouldn't need to raise minimum wage. As it is now, there are businesses that can't find employees due to the lack of desire to work. Some of that created by government policies and taxes, especially since government has created so much dependency with other people, even if it is with small programs that provides them with part-time money so they don't have to work as much. As a good work ethic has as good work ethic has decreased in our society, people seem to be expecting to work less and get paid more. It's a great concept. I get it. Yet something that a good work ethic not only solves, but also quietly solves the we have to raise the minimum wage laws. Because with a good work ethic comes productivity, efficiency, responsibility, and better opportunities, which helps to naturally raise your income levels the way our system is naturally and how life is in general. Work harder, do better. And again, working harder doesn't have to mean physically. There are two financial topics being discussed today. We're going to backtrack a little bit that I think will put another nail in the coffin for our work ethic and our country. One is debt forgiveness of student loan debt, and the other I have mentioned is raising the minimum wage. Debt forgiveness will only teach our children that you can get something for nothing. It will not teach appreciation for working hard because everyone gets a participation trophy and then get fast tracked to a job that gets you a living wage and your needs are taken care of. It not only destroys their work ethic, it opens the door for socialism and you still get a trophy. You might have to wait in line for it. And then there is raising the minimum wage, which will teach people how to get their basic needs taken care of without having to perform or want better. And it takes away the motivation for many. Insert record scratch here and nothing else, but it's just another open door for socialism. Many think if they increase the minimum wage, it will increase productivity or create a larger workforce. But then everyone's work ethic will be subsidized by the company through higher wages, and it will eventually put that company out of business, just like what is happening to the federal government with the debt and the programs it is funding. Because higher wages without a hard work ethic doesn't mean more productivity. People in our society want to make more per hour, but they want to work less. I get it. That is what happens. So I mean, this is what happens in society. People want that. So how I think this ends up is that we don't get the productivity, commitment, and dedication out of the minimum wage because people will start just putting in enough time to get by. And as everyone goes part time in the process because they're making more money, maybe they get a government program, they figure out the right combination to work less, and our country's workforce not only takes a deep dive down, but our country does too. We lose productivity because not being at work consistently, and this is part of the problem if everybody's going part-time. If people go part-time, not only because they got the programs are being taken care of, it breeds complacency, we'll say. They don't have to be as efficient. So our companies lose productivity because employees not being at work consistently, there's always going to be that gap. There's always going to be these missing points when we as humans lose our flow, and the business is not having people in sync with the flow of business, especially if they are just there for the minimum and not trying to improve themselves for the next step up because their basic needs are being met until inflation hits. And it will, because the forced price increases are guaranteed instead of an overall improvement in our society or having people going after their goals and paying people more, less productivity, inflation is only a guarantee that it will become to the tipping point when businesses can't even keep their doors open as a result because they'll be beyond the tipping point. All while everyone is quiet quitting. I mentioned it earlier. It's a thing now. You look it up because showing up for work, but they're quietly quitting, as they say, is showing up for work, but not applying a work ethic, or they're performing just enough to get by. Look it up. It's a real thing. We as a society are failing our fellow man by accepting their softness as an excuse to not work, feeling sorry for them for not having the ability to leave their house. We're sympathetic to their soft hands and their fear of getting calluses. We are failing society every time we accept their reasons for not wanting to work more. We are guilty for not teaching our youth and society the harder lesson of having to work hard. We are guilty as a society for lowering the bar to the cushion and pay them more so they don't have to run and jump over the bar and not feel the freedom of setting a goal and achieving it and striving to do better. We as a society have to stop agreeing that the rent is too high and just pay people more without expecting more and creating more dependence. And it works the other way too. We as a society have to work harder to expect our elected officials and our government run by them to do better at creating policies that create a freer environment, work ethic that is rewarded not just financially, but with freedom from government, and will naturally work with the free market and competition to bring the prices down. The human spirit needs to work and be productive to satisfy its desire for freedom. Otherwise, it dies on a vine that brings down communities. Just look at our failing communities that don't have opportunities, that have a dying sense of work ethic, that don't have the opportunities that come along with a healthy, vibrant community built on that. Can a good work ethic be bad? Well, maybe in a bad work environment, if a boss or if you are not rewarding the people with good work ethic or encouraging the ones that don't have a good one to do better. which will happen if we don't start teaching and expecting a good work ethic in our society and business. Again, said another way, bad work environments, the people are going to leave. Companies are going to fail because they're left with the people that don't have good working environments. And if we don't teach the ones that don't have a good work environment how don't teach them a good work ethic, they'll never do better. Our society won't do better. Why would a country or leaders want to inhibit or even destroy people's hard work ethics? Because people will become dependent and easily controlled if they destroy it. They will give up. You see, if people become independent from government, government has no control. But if people become dependent, they are easily controlled, and it's easy to destroy not only their desire and passion to do better, but their desire for freedom. They won't fight for it. It's no different than why they have signs at parks to not feed the animals. Again, creating dependency on government makes people rely and not do for themselves. It's amazing that some of the signs at our federal national parks have signs to not feed the animals because they know they'll be dependent. All too often, a hard work ethic is criticized as being privileged in the case of someone who has done good in life because they worked hard for it, while some see it as bowing to a system, or they have it because of privilege instead of hard work. If we teach hard work from birth, the benefits of hard work will carry them through school to college or a career and responsible money management and create their own pathway to success for everybody. If we do that, everybody has a chance. And those on the other side of it will be more respectful of the success of others instead of envious and maybe see it as motivation to do better. But having a good work ethic is not the end all or be all or a guarantee in life. Not only does it have to be nurtured, worked on, practiced, but the fruits of your labor have to be respected, maintained, and not taken for granted so as not to forget what got you there. Theodore Roosevelt, on becoming governor of New York, spoke to our nation as it was beginning to feel tremendous wealth, and he cautioned against the temptation of life. The, that the character of a nation, like that of an individual, appears through its hard work. In other words, I'll add that as an individual can take the success they get from hard work for granted, so too can our nation as a whole. And in my words, we not only give up our freedoms personally, but we collectively can become despondent and dependent on the wealth of our nation or with our country in so much debt, I'll say the perception of it to take care of us. Kind of like that learning curve or grade averaging thing they're doing in schools. So everyone gets the average grade and a trophy instead of winners and losers. And again, so many people think our country's wealthy. So they go, oh, the government's got it. They're living off a program, getting whatever they can get off of it, and not saying, hey, let me do my part to not feed off the government. So we are faced with governments that have figured out how to gain more control over people and rob them of their freedom by making it easier for people to be dependent on it rather than on themselves, or having more people just decided that they're choosing not to work. Or has the government just made it easier? Or some might say it's spiritual, that in the words of Paul Harvey, if he were the devil. And is there just a darker side that wins when a majority of people don't want better and give up their freedom and not deserve better because they choose to be dependent? There are those who feel this world has gotten harder and that the rent is too damn high. Or have people simply decided they don't need their freedom as long as they have what they need? Or is it, as Benjamin Franklin warned us, that those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety? You see, we as humans were created and programmed in our DNA to work and be productive as a way to be self reliant and free, to protect ourselves from dependency and provide for ourselves and those dependent upon us, which keeps us free from idleness and laziness that makes us vulnerable to having our freedoms stolen by government through programs that take away our motivation via a growing government, because it took the place of our work ethic and made it easier to choose not to use the abilities we are born with. So, can a good work ethic be taught, learned, chosen, or born with? I think it's how you're raised and which part of your DNA that you nurture and listen to. And it's up to us to teach it, be an example of it, and expect it from our society. The future of our country and humanity is dependent on how hard we are willing to work for all of the things that we benefit from through our own hard work, and how well we pass on the knowledge of it and how to use it, the benefits of it, how to choose to do it, and even when it is hard to do. Teach your children well and promote a good work ethic by encouraging and complimenting those that work hard. Because if we don't, we will see an end of freedom and America as we know it. Just like you tell people you care about them, when you see somebody working hard, let them know you appreciate what they're doing. I'm going to end on the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson. Not gold, but only man can make a people great and strong. Men who for truth and honor's sake stand fast and suffer long. Brave men who work while others sleep, who dare while others fly. They build a nation's pillars deep and lift them to the sky. Thank you for spending some time with me. And please support my podcast by going to my website, visiting some of my sponsors, using some of the promo codes, and go to the merchandise link on my page and visit my store, my merchandise store, and see what item you may want to get to preserve our freedoms. And please, if you found value in this podcast, it'd mean a lot to me if you shared it with a friend, shared it on Twitter, shared it on social media. I worked hard at trying to get some good information for you. And again, it would mean a lot to me if you shared it. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And God bless the work ethic in our country.